I would also like to begin with a story to make a brief point about deep learning. Around the World in 80 Days is a popular adventure in which the hero, Phileas Fogg, accepts a wager to go around the world in 80 days. Now, this was the 19th century, so going around the world in just 80 days was considered almost impossible. His friends caution him about storms and robbers and unexpected delays, but Fogg very calmly replies that the unpredictable does not exist. Now, how is that possible? This journey around the world consists of travel over land and sea. The entire journey is fraught with risks, but Phileas Fogg, whose reputation, fortune, entire fortune, and occasionally even life are at stake, but somehow he seems to know that his will, which happens to be a very strong one, seems to determine the turn of events at every point in the story. Like while in India, he sees a princess about to be killed and he decides to save her. It seems like an impossible task. She's surrounded by a large crowd all the time, and the palace guards are keeping watch over her. But sometime, even after what's called the last minute, the impossible happens, and Fogg manages to save the princess. The story is full of such astounding feats. During the sea voyage from America to England, the ship's captain tells Fogg, now this is in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, he says, "We have run out of fuel." Fogg is not perturbed in the least. He says, "Chop all the timber that's available in the ship, cut all the canvas, whatever can be burnt, use that as fuel," and he manages to reach home in the stipulated time and win the wager. Yes, this is fiction, but as we discussed on the topic of symbol, analogy, and metaphor yesterday, literature can be used to illustrate points very clearly. In this story, Fogg's very, very thorough knowledge of train and ship timings and routes and weather conditions, all of this comprise only half the reason for his success. The other half is his will, that total conviction that a particular thing should and can be done. So the subjective factor alongside the objective facts is seen to influence reality. Knowledge plus will determines the outcome. Now coming to real life, actually if we look at it, our lives of people we know, we see, we've heard of, we've read about, are filled with more astounding feats than anything that we can read in fiction. Like Winston Churchill said in the face of a strong Nazi attack during World War II that we shall never surrender. When he declared this, he headed an armed force, an air force that was outnumbered and technically inferior, considered inferior compared to the foe. Had Churchill gone by these objective facts, he could not have declared his intention to fight in the beaches, hills, landing grounds and fields with growing strength and growing confidence, to go on to the end, if necessary, alone, whatever the cost may be. All of these phrases of his are so saturated with his will, and with this he inspired and energized his soldiers and even civilians, and this played a very crucial role in the Battle of Britain and ensured Britain an incredible victory. So when we talk about knowledge, I believe that our learning of facts, information, putting them all together, this is half the task. It is will that along with knowledge that adds depth to learning. When it comes to life, when it comes to human affairs, there is no such thing as objective knowledge. The possibility of an event occurring, the success of that task, the extent of the success, these are not independent of our understanding, commitment, and will. All knowledge is self-referential. And just as the example of Phileas Fogg illustrates a point about the power of the combination of knowledge and will, all of literature can be used to make learning more effective. Analogies from great works of literature and symbolism of poetry can be used to communicate ideas more easily than through abstract argument alone. So I will just conclude with the point that a fresh approach to literary criticism can also be a very effective and resourceful tool in our quest for deep learning. Thank you.